Welcome back to Quantum Explorers Psychic Self series, and I'm really excited for today because I get to talk about my favorite topic, which is telepathy. This is our fourth class of 5, and we already had, and I'm happy to see you all back, we already had together the class of quantum communication and the class of psychic self-activation, and last week we removed psychic blocks. You all know me already, but for future audiences, I will repeat and introduce myself. My name is 𝗤𝘂𝗧𝗖𝗎𝗓. I'm a visionary communicator. That's what I call myself. And I apply my psychic skills in my private online healing practice. I work with a modality that is called theta healing. And I today help people or my clients to shift their subconscious limiting beliefs so that they can activate and navigate their psychic awareness in a much better, proficient way. And I have been interested in this topic, in the topic of psychic development, for over 20 years now. And I just recently decided that I would really like to share my knowledge and my understanding with a larger audience. So that is why I created this series of activation for you, psychic self-activation. And yeah, what brings me to this topic at all is that I had the term modality. Somebody asked about modality. That is, yes, I can come back to that question in a second. Thank you for asking. So let me finish that thought here. So what brings me to studying actually psychic development is that I had an experience about 10 years ago where very suddenly my own psychic senses were opened a lot, like really a lot, very in a short time and very dramatically. And that asked of me that I very quickly learned how to navigate and open and close my psychic gates, and also learn how to navigate incoming information. And another part of my interest is that even more years back, I studied communication science, and I hold a master's degree in communication science, and that for me is another foundation for my independent research into the topic of psychic development, and very much, especially my favorite topic, telepathy. Somebody in the audience asked about if I could explain modality. Yes. So the modality that I work with is called theta healing. You can see it on the slide. And it is an energy healing modality. That means it is a practice, a certain set of ways that you operate with a client, that you do, speak to a client, you could say. And you have already experienced a little bit of theta healing during the past classes when we did the meditation practice. That what we did there is actually the guiding up to connecting with the field of infinite potentiality, and that is shifting the brainwave state into the theta brainwave state. Hence the modality or the practice. The technique, you could also say, is called theta healing, towards this theta brainwave state. I hope that for short answers the question. And now let's go ahead with what I intend to do here. Why this series actually exists is that I recently started the project Quantum Explorers, and most of you here in the group are already in the Facebook group, which is wonderful. For other audiences, I will share the link in any of the description boxes so that you can follow up and meet with us on Facebook at the Quantum Explorers. And what my intention is with this group is I want to bring together people who are actively interested in their own psychic development, and also so that we can study together and learn together, practice together, but also focus on learning more in general about our innate human capacity, our organic human intelligence. and how we can apply that both for ourselves to grow ourselves as an individual, but also, and that is a very strong focus for me, to see how this can be applied and how this could be a contribution to the general evolution of humanity here on this planet today. This group is free, of course. You can join anytime. You don't have to have a certain skill set or level or whatever. You can just join when you have an interest, or if you have an interest in these kind of topics. So we did already do a little bit. So this is our 4th session, as mentioned. We have another session next week where we look into practice. And yeah, all the classes, if you have missed the former classes, no worries. All the classes will be available within the Facebook group once the series is complete. A few words of caution. So you hear me speak most of the time, and I share my personal and professional understanding of what it means to be psychic. And we also do exercises, we do meditations here. You are welcome to ask questions. And if you are new to the topic of psychic development, then I invite you to stay open as much as possible. Open your heart, open your mind, allow for the information to come in that is most valuable for you at this point of time. And yeah, even if your rational mind has some ideas and points of views, just set it aside for a moment and receive what is new to you. Friendly reminder for all of us, this is a place to discuss possibilities. It's not a place, obviously, to discuss whether psychic abilities do exist or not exist. With that said, I finish up with a little disclaimer. Everything that you hear and learn here is hopefully valuable for you, and I hope that you can apply it in a good way for you. But you take care of your own health and well-being. So I'm not liable for any consequences that occur from practicing with me here or after the session. And also you should know that this is obviously not a substitute for any kind of professional health care. So now I like to relax after this legal obligation disclaimer mentioning, and I can assure you we're not doing anything too fancy tonight. With that said, I'd like to start with today's topic. Let's go ahead, and I would like to know from you, first of all, telepathy. So I want to make sure that we are on the same page with that, or at least close to each other. So let's create a common understanding. What does it actually mean? What do you think is telepathy? What does it mean to have telepathic awareness? And how do you communicate telepathically? What is your current understanding? Also, what is your current experience? And I would like to for you to use the chat and maybe write a few sentences there so that we can share with each other before we go on and create a new improved understanding, hopefully a larger understanding from all that we have already learned. So please go ahead and share a few sentences. What is your current understanding of telepathy? And that can be anything. Don't be shy. We're here to learn and create this understanding. Actually, there's not so much knowledge about it out there. We are to relearn this currently. Amazing. So I'm curious. So Q writes, interact with someone at a distance. Absolutely. Passing through by brainwaves. Okay. Communicating without voice through consciousness. Brilliant. All these mentionings are perfectly going into the direction where we're heading today. I'll wait for one more if there is anyone else who wants to share, and then we go ahead and look at all of that. So somebody says, I have no experience of telepathy. I think it's the ability to communicate without being together in the same place. So wonderful. So what that shows is we all have an idea of what this is, and our ideas also match up very nicely. So now let's go ahead and look at something here. I brought you a very neat definition of telepathy. So I looked up in a dictionary, of course. That is very old-fashioned, but we still can do that. And the dictionary tells us that telepathy is the ability to know what is in someone else's mind or to communicate with someone mentally without using words or other physical signals. So that is what the Cambridge Dictionary says. And I say yes, and because that is a very limited definition, and that does not really reflect at all what we already know about the function and the expression of telepathic communication. So the intention for this class is to offer you a broader view of what telepathy can be and how it works, so that you can get a clearer understanding of how you can activate and practice your own telepathic abilities. So let's go ahead with that. And first of all, I'd like to share with you that there are actually 3 types of telepathy that each access information in a different way, which also leads to a distinct level of telepathic communication. If you remember, during the psychic self-activation class, we looked at our psychic centers, the chakras, and how they are connected to our extrasensory perception. And today we want to take one step further and have a look at how certain chakras are connected to the ability to communicate telepathically. And you see here the 3 types of telepathy mentioned. The first one is connected to your throat chakra, and that is mental telepathy. That is the actual mind-to-mind communication that we usually think of when we first start to think and talk about telepathy. So the actual mind-to-mind communication, mental telepathy. The second type is connected to your heart chakra, and that is called spiritual, or you could call it spiritual telepathy. And that's the way how we connect to the field of pure potentiality. We talked about this in the class of quantum communication, if you want to refer back to that. So it is connecting to and through our soul and to the divine, which is also another way of describing this field of infinite potentiality. And then thirdly, we have the navel or the solar plexus chakra that is connected to what we call instinctual telepathy. And that is a way how we communicate through our feelings. And that is also occurring within the animal kingdom. And it's also a way how we can communicate with animals and other humans, and also the natural living world, like nature. So let me have a little bit of a feedback here with your thumbs up if you get all of that, what I'm sharing with you here. Yeah, that's easy to understand. So we have 3 types of telepathy. Thank you for your feedback. So let's now look into more detail what these 3 types actually mean and how they work and what is to know there. The first type, I would like to start from the other way around. I like to start with instinctual telepathy. And instinctual telepathy utilizes, as we just said, the area around your solar plexus, so where your navel is. That is the center of our instincts and our emotions. And we talked about this last time, that in this area, as with other chakras as well, that there is a physical accumulation of nerve endings in this area of your body. And those are connected to your gut in this place. And also, we talked about that the gut has its own nervous system. And that links also with your brain in your head. So scientists even believe that the gut was somehow like our first brain. And this type of instinctual telepathy is based on feelings. So that is our primal expressions. And we still find this instinctual telepathy mostly today within indigenous cultures. So, for example, if you want to look up on that, there is examples from Hawaiian cultures. There are still very good documentations about the African Bushman tribes, and also within the Australian Aborigines. There is a tradition, or I wouldn't like to call it a tradition, but there is actively used instinctual telepathy. And in this type of telepathy, it works like this, like one person registers the feelings and the needs of another person at a distance through their own solar plexus. So this avenue of understanding is of telepathy that has also been scientifically proven nowadays. So there were experiments made in 2004, 20 years ago. So, but it's still valid. So by Marilyn Schlitz and Dean Radin, and they are of the Institute of Noetic Science. And they came to the conclusion, actually, what our ancestors already know, what the indigenous cultures know, and that we, of course, also know, but they proved it scientifically, that actually our gut has something that you could call a belly brain, and that it has a perception intelligence of its own. So we know it from all sides now. Yes, our gut, our belly has the capacity of a brain. So get that and keep that in mind, because you will find out today that you actually do not have just one brain, but actually you have three. So bear with me. This is really exciting and interesting to know. So what we need to understand about instinctual telepathy is that this type of telepathic communication plays out on the role of really heightened emotions. So, and one person who found a really good description of that is the researcher Bradford Keeney. And he has been recording and speaking to African Bushmen. And from there, we have a quote that is to be found in Keeney's book about the spiritual universe of the African Bushman. And I'd like to quote this for you because it's so clear as a description of how instinctual telepathy could be understood. So here it goes, a quote. You can send a thought to another person without first being, or you cannot send a thought to another person without first being filled with heightened emotion. In this state, you mix your thoughts, message, or directive with your intensified feeling and make the thought a pure feeling. It is concentrated in your belly, where the intensity of your feelings escalates to a point where it can no longer be held. Then it is released along the line coming out of your belly. So that is energetically speaking, imagine that. And directed to another person's belly. They immediately respond when you communicate in this way. It may seem like we send our thoughts, but we are actually sending our feelings. Not weak, arbitrary feelings, but intense, almost overwhelming feelings. A thought, message, or request is changed into feeling. The feeling is the carrying. So I think this is brilliantly showing us how this works. And what you have to bring into your understanding is that there's not a visible line connecting belly buttons, but you have to understand that this is an energetic way of transferring. And I think we are all clear on that when we speak about things going on across time and space. So this type of telepathic communication, as I said, it also enables us to connect with the animal kingdom and the natural living world in general, because these areas of life, they mostly operate on this in this primal area of emotion, on this emotional level. So it's much easier to connect to your dog or to your cat or to any other animal, or also to a tree, which you can do telepathically, if you get yourself into an emotional state. So if you communicate from your solar plexus. So just so you know what you can do with it. So, but here today in this class, we will focus for the moment on the human-to-human telepathic communication, but I am pretty sure that in the future I will also do a class on animal communication, which I have also training in. So let's move forward, or if you have questions to this segment, so please put your questions just in the chat so that we can move forward and we address the questions in a bit. I see we have a little bit more here. So next up, we have mental telepathy. And that is called also thought transference. So this type of telepathy utilizes your throat chakra and the lower mental plane. So it is what we describe as this direct mind-to-mind communication between two or even more, if you want to, fully conscious and focused minds. And in this regard, we speak about human beings. And notice very importantly that we are talking about minds, direct mind to mind. We are not talking about brain to brain communication. That is something to remember further down the line. So to achieve mental telepathy, what you would need is to really have a very strong capacity of mental concentration and really being one-pointed in your focused attention. And that is something that is, I find at least, hard to achieve. I don't know about you, but being really single-mindedly focused on one thing for a prolonged time is quite the achievement. And today we do not train our minds in that way anymore. So it is to say that this direct mind-to-mind communication is very rarely actually achieved between humans today. Of course, there are people. And I also had an experience, like very, very briefly, but very significant experience of mind-to-mind communication with several different people. And that was at that time, as I mentioned earlier, about 10 years ago, when my psychic senses were very, very strongly opened. And that is also what still inspires me about learning about telepathy and the human potential for it, because if that happens to you, you really start questioning things. How is this actually possible? And I am still in this state where I feel like, well, I need to know. So, and yeah, actually after that, and when I started my healing practice, I focused a large portion of my healing work on throat chakra issues. So releasing any kind of issues that are blocking the throat chakra in order to opening it up for telepathic communication. And there is a ton of valuable research on this topic of telepathy, because that is what we usually think telepathy is, the one and only thing. But we now see there's more to it. But scientific community mostly looks at the mental telepathy and does the research in that. And my recommendation for you is, if you want to follow up on by yourself this research, you could look up a book called Mental Radio. It's a little bit older already, but it's still valuable. Or you could search for Duke University and parapsychology. very neat way to get the entire history is to just read the book Conscious Universe by Dean Radin, who has a very comprehensive overview of the research and the study of mental telepathy. And with that, I'd like to move already forward, having the time in view here, to what I find really most interesting and where I'm set out to do much more research for myself and hopefully also with you if you are interested. And that is spiritual telepathy. That is currently a term that can be used, but in the future there could also probably be other ways of naming it. But this type of telepathy is connected to the heart chakra. And with that, we could say that it is connected to our soul and to the divine. And we talked about this in quantum communication. These are specific terms, speaking of soul and speaking of the divine. You could also speak about the quantum field and information, same. So I like to speak about soul and about divine and divinity, if you would agree. So, but we could also call it, of course, the field of pure potentiality. For this type of telepathy to work, actually, what we need is we need to create a much higher level of integration and alignment between our brains. So, and the mind and the soul. So we need to bring into alignment our physical being, our energetic being, and also our divine being. And the heart, actually, and this is such a mind-blowing knowledge for me to have, because it changes the entire outlook on telepathy if you want to. Our heart is our most powerful brain. Can I say that again? Our heart is our most powerful brain. So scientists have found that the heart has its own neural network too, just like the gut and the brain in your skull. So there they are, the three brains. And however, that scientists also found that the heart actually is in command, so or in control. It has the say. It tells the brain in the skull, and it tells the gut what to do and how to regulate the physical body. So the heart really is at the center of everything that's happening for you. And also, from quantum communication, we heard that the heart also has a much stronger electromagnetic field, and than our brain in the skull and also the brain in the gut. So we could say that the brain has, the heart has a lot more bandwidth or more reach, if you want to speak technically, and that it can process more information faster and that it can reach further. And the interesting thing here is that all our wisdom traditions tell us that the heart is the seat of the soul, and the soul is our link to the divine. So through the heart, we connect to this field of pure potentiality, the divine. So with all the neurons that we have there, we connect. And you maybe imagine, you remember this image of the neurons connecting. And you remember from quantum communication class how everything is connected with each other. So our hearts, all of our hearts, are connected with each other and are connected with everything that is, and are connected with what we call the field of pure potentiality. So if you can get this as a deeper understanding, there is no question that we can communicate with whatever and however distance and what not we want. So and I think I'm pretty sure actually that all of you, or myself included, that we had this experience of that suddenly something is very certain for you. It is obvious, it is so certain for you, and it's in your heart, and there's no words for it. So, but you just, you know, you're certain, you know. And that is the language of the heart. It is beyond the words, it's beyond the explanation, it's in the knowing. And that is actually that also called, it's wisdom. And this is also, could call it pure inspiration. Inspiration, which actually means receiving the spirit. And yeah, that is what this higher, or this type of telepathy is about. It's about higher inspiration. It's about communication with and through the divine. And the heart, with all its physical properties and all its spiritual properties, is the portal for that. And I want to give you an example, which I find really great, and that is from our greatest thinkers and artists. They really get that. They really have and access and play with this ability to communicate with the subtle worlds. And there is this Italian composer, Giacomo Puccini, who has a really great understanding of it. And I would like to quote a short quote from him. So he experienced inspiration in his work as a composer, like as a divine force. And here's the quote. So he describes a vibration that passes from the soul center, I would say that's the heart here, into my consciousness, where the inspired ideas are born. So, quote finished, or end of quote. So from my perspective, the understanding of spiritual telepathy should be at the top of our list. If we really want to learn about how to communicate telepathically, we should start there, right at the heart of all of it. And after all, you should know that we, as an embodied human being, we do not start actually before our heart starts to beat. And why this is actually happening is still a mystery. Nobody knows, but it does. So I'd say the heart is our connection to the divine line. So if you want to make a long distance call across time and space, then first of all, let's call the divine line first. So this is how I understand it, and this is what I love to share with you today here. And also a little bit more on that side, what I sense is that that this is a great potential. So there's this great potential for us, if we can access that, to bring forth ideas, divine ideas, from the field of infinite potentiality that actually can create solutions for the problems that are most pressing in our world today. So it's not only good for art, but it's also good for evolution and creating solutions. And with that, this is what I have in mind, why I'm so driven to learn about this whole idea of telepathic communication. And for me, really, one of these most pressing problems that we are facing in the near future is how will we communicate in the near future? And what I see happening, so if you follow up on this development, so there are some tech billionaires out there who really think that our only option to keep up with the rapid AI development is that we become wirelessly connected to our devices, telephone, computer, whatnot, through a computer chip in our own brain, this meaning the skull brain. And I don't know how you think about this, and I'm really curious. I would like to have a discussion on that especially, and I will put forward a class about this in the future. I say right now, we don't need to become cyborgs. This is a merger of human and machine and AI, if we can really put our efforts into reactivating our already existing telepathic abilities and connect to the field of infinite potentiality, which will always be more, know more, be more, as any AI ever can, because an AI operates on a closed circuit and a closed amount of information right now. And the divine never does that. It's infinite. But these are right now my 2 cents, but this is important for me to share with you, and I'm really curious what you think about this. So we still have some time, and right now what I would like to do is to get some practical things done in this class. So give me a few thumbs up if you are ready for some practice. All right, I see people are being ready. Great. So let's get started. So we now have learned we have 3 brains. We have one in the skull, we have one in the heart, and one in the gut. And what are we to do to bring these 3 into alignment? They all allow us to access and process information that support us in communicating with other beings, and like with one another, but also with the physical world around us, the non-physical world, but also with the divine. So yeah, how do we do that? What brings this all together? And there is one meditative practice that I know of currently that is actually called heart-brain coherence. So it's only 2, but I'd like to experience it, also share it from the perspective that it actually aligns all 3 of them. But originally it was developed by the HeartMath Institute in California. It's a very simple practice that we can do right now together. And as a recommendation, if you're interested really in building your capacity to not only do telepathy or access telepathic communication, but also to expand on your psychic awareness in general, you could do this very simple practice like every day, 3 to 5 minutes, something like that. You can always squeeze in. So let's do this. And some of you might already know this. We have done this maybe before, I don't know, remember. So let's first get aware, become aware of yourself, wherever you're sitting right now on your chair. And I invite you to first of all, shift your focus. That's the first step, shifting the focus from your skull brain, from your mental activity up here, coming to your heart center. And the easiest way to achieve that, I found, is like taking a deep breath. And when you let out the air, you let it out with a little sound, like a sigh. Like, and the image is that you could imagine that you're kind of like going down a slide from your brain into your heart. So it would be like this, and you can do this together with me. Take a deep breath. And again. And again. All right, now you intensify the focus on your heart by taking your hand and bringing it in on the center of your chest, your heart chakra area. So your focus is wherever you feel physical touch, usually your focus goes. So that is the easiest way to focus yourself. And now you focus on your breath, and you want to make sure that you breathe out longer than you breathe in. For example, you breathe in for 4, and you breathe out for 6. And it doesn't matter what you count, but it is important that the ratio is longer breathing out than breathing in. And let's do this for a moment. Really allowing your focus to be on the heart chakra and your focus to be on the breathing out Whenever you breathe out longer than you breathe in, what you trigger is your parasympathetic and nervous system, which is what calms you down, slows you down, brings you into a relaxed state. And that is exactly where we need to be. And you just keep going while you hear me talking, where you want to be in this relaxed state if we want to access our psychic abilities. Because we can usually not do that if we are in a state of fear or flight or freeze. Okay. So next step is you keep breathing and you activate now a feeling. And I invite you to think about something or someone that you really like, that you appreciate, that you care about, that you even love. And really activate these feelings. Think about this person, this place, or this thing that you have appreciation, love, care, gratitude for. And allow yourself to feel these feelings with your entire body. And you might notice that a sure sign if you do it right is that you start smiling ever so gently, but something is lifting up in your face. And yes. So these are the 3 steps, and you can continue for a moment more longer. You shift first of all from your skull brain into your heart. You slow down your breathing. You breathe out longer than you breathe in. And then you activate the feelings and amplify these feelings. And if you continue with that for 3 to 5 minutes, you really trigger a very good response in your entire body for healing, for relaxation, for rejuvenating. That's one part. But it also opens up your channels to receive more information. Okay. So I hope that went well for you. Let me see in the chat if you have any questions about that. Slightly off the book and the author. Okay. Yes. Good. So let me see if you have any questions towards that. You can put them in the chat. Oh, sorry, not in that area. Can I see you again? So here. Okay, sorry, if you're still in the exercise, I see some are really are in the flow with that. So we stop the exercise here. I just had a look at the time, and we want to move forward. So if you have any questions towards that, let me know in the chat. Okay. Good. If there are no questions to that, then there's one more thing that we can do today, and that we have also done together, and that is to really, if we are in the state now where we have achieved heart and brain coherence, then we can move forward and do one more step. And I actually would put this 2 together as a practice if you want to, and that is shifting our brain frequency into 8 Hz. That is the deepest theta brainwave state that we can go to. That makes it easy for us to access the field of pure potentiality. And what is interesting is that some scientists, I recently learned, who did research on telepathic savants, found out that when they measured their brain waves, that these people actually, when they were communicating telepathically, then they were all on the level of 8 Hz. So you can keep that in mind, shifting into theta brainwave state, going up to 8 Hz, and theta brainwave is between 4 and 8. So 4 is more mildly, and 8 is deeper. You have a pretty good chance to open up your telepathic channel and awareness, and communication can flow more easily. So if you are ready, we can do this for a very short moment. So your entire system once again gets the experience of that, and you can more easily remember that at a later point in time. So come back to yourself, to your focus, and we just connect with what we did before. So we had a beautiful connection with our heart center. And from there, you can bring your awareness now down through your body, through your lower belly, through your legs, and down through your feet, into the soles of your feet. And you can bring your with your imagination, you can go into the ground until you reach, and you go down, 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 until you reach the center of the earth. And you make a strong connection there, something that keeps you grounded. And you can use any imagery that helps you to experience this feeling of groundedness. Some people like to grow roots in this place. Okay. And once you have this feeling of groundedness, or you have seen this image of groundedness, felt it, then with your next in-breath, you pull up energy from the center of the earth that is nourishing, that is grounding, and you pull it up through the soles of your feet, and you bring it into your body, up, 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 and you fill all of your cells with this grounding energy until you come to the top of your head. There forms a beautiful ball of light, and you put your energy awareness into this ball of light. And this ball of light, you can notice the color of it, and then it starts vibrating, and it shoots up into the sky. It goes through the roof, it goes through the sky, it leaves the earth atmosphere. You're leaving behind energetically, with your energy consciousness, you're leaving behind the paradigm of the earth and the collective consciousness of humanity. You're going up, 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 and you're leaving behind, going further beyond the paradigm of our solar system. You go up and beyond, up, out, and beyond the paradigm of our Milky Way galaxy, and even further through the known universe. You leave that behind as well and go further up, 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 through all the layers and layers of light. Pass a golden light, you pass a rainbow colored light, you pass a pink mist of compassion, and then you see a beautiful iridescent bright white light. And there you go in with your bubble. And once you're surrounded by this beautiful bright white light, you go up, up, up until you can go no further. You open your bubble and you merge with the surrounding bright white light. You become one with it. You allow every cell of your body to fill itself up with this beautiful bright light. This is the space for infinite potential, instant healing, manifestation, and miracles, actually. It's a place you know very well in your consciousness, a place that you consciously can come to just by shifting your brain. And from that space, if you want to, we can ask and set the intention that for everyone in the group and for everyone who's listening in the future, that it will be brought forward the highest perspective, truth, understanding, knowledge, and wisdom of what it actually means to communicate telepathically, what that looks like, and what that feels like in the body, how you can experience this, that it is your birthright to experience telepathic communication, that you can and you know how to do that. You just remember how to do that. It is all in your field. It's already your knowledge. You just remember, and you know that it is safe and without disadvantage for you to communicate telepathically. You know how and when to do that in the highest and best, most loving and joyful way for you. And yeah, you know who you are as a person, as a being, as a soul who has this capacity. And you allow yourself to now open up your psychic and your telepathic channels And you are allowed, you are worthy and deserving being to communicate telepathically with the world around you, the physical and the non-physical world around you. And if you want to have this in your energy field, in your space, this understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, you can just say yes. And you just receive this directly from this field of infinite potential. And I witness, as we have learned in quantum communication, I witness for you how that is happening. Good. And now, as time has already moved on, we can complete the session by, you could just come up again into this beautiful bright white light. You put your bubble around you again, and this time we come down the same way as we went up. So we go past, back down through the pink mist of compassion, through the rainbow colored light, through the golden light, going down, 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 through the Milky Way galaxy, into our solar system, coming back into the Earth atmosphere, and going down, down, down with your bubble until you reach the top of your head again. And then you bring your entire energy consciousness back into your body. You bring your awareness down through your body, back into the earth, center of the earth, and ground yourself here. And what I like to set the intention here is to tell the earth who I am right now with this newly activated potential, and that the earth now responds to me and shows me that I actually have this potential activated and that I can be walking this earth now with the capacity, the ability, and the practice of telepathy. Thank you. And then you pull up again the energy from the earth through your body until it reaches the top of your head. And then you can open your eyes. Amazing. Oh, it is so interesting to see you all. Now, we still have a little bit of time. Now is a good time for questions. And I saw one question here. Can you please say the book title and author again? I think you probably mean Dean Radin's book of Conscious Universe. If that's so, you can give me a thumbs up. If you mean another title, you can always ask for more. Everyone I see here, mostly everyone, is in the Facebook group. You can just shoot me a message through that, and I can forward any information that you might need for your own study. Wonderful. Okay, are there any more questions? I'm still here. I'm still ready to answer that. And I said, if you want to connect further with me, if you have more questions, thank you. Okay, thumbs up for that question answered. Brilliant. Then you can connect with me and you can join the Facebook group as told, the Quantum Explorers. That's where you find us. You can follow my latest updates on Instagram at my handle 𝗤𝘂𝗪𝗔. You can check out my entire work, all that I offer, you find on my website, www.𝗤𝘂𝗪𝗔.com. Or you can also write to me, info@thequantumexplorers.com. And for those of you who really want to move forward with their psychic gifts, I recently developed a tiny class. It's not so tiny, it has actually 3 sessions to activate your psychic self and to really get confidence and clarity in how to use your psychic gifts, and you can book this through my website. And I can tell you it's a lot of fun. We are doing healing and clearing of your channels. We are doing an activation of your most psychic self. And I will work with you on establishing your own psychic practice so that you can really practice your gifts and move forward with that. So I check out once more the question section. I often hear about an event expanding psychic abilities. Why do you feel that is an event? Yes, so this is a very interesting question, and I'd love to elaborate on that furthermore. Event, I don't know exactly how you understand it. I can tell you from my experience that it came up. So I was interested in certain topics in my life, mostly about spirituality. And I had a sense that this is something that is of value for me in my life. And then it kind of like set off a trail of meeting certain people and being introduced to schools and knowledge and wisdom and so on and so forth. And so that kind of like created an event. But there's where I came together with other people, and yeah, it triggered something. So meeting people for example, can trigger something within you that brings up your psychic awareness. But there's all kinds of other events that can happen. Some people sometimes very tragically go through accidents and maybe have near-death experiences and come back from that having a clearer view on our reality and how they function within it. So give me a thumbs up if that is in the direction that you were interested in, or you can also ask further about this, or if you have really specific questions, I'm really happy to share more about what I can come up with, what I know, so we can all create a deeper understanding of what brings forward such an expansion. Can you just give me a thought or thumbs? Yeah, okay, great, thank you. The mental radio author, yes, that was one of the other books I mentioned. Upton Sinclair is the name. Upton Sinclair. And it is an older book. I think it's, what is it? I think the work was done in the 1920s. The book is around that 1930, 1940, maybe, if I remember correctly. But it's very interesting read because this person worked together with his wife, who was an extraordinary psychic, and they did research together. So it's really interesting. I recommend diving into that. So as I see, we have come up to the hour. So if there are not any more questions, then my last slide for you is to say a big thank you. I'm so happy that I could have the session with you here today. And we have one more session left. So next week is another opportunity to meet and to learn more. And next week we will look at how can you create your own psychic practice. So you learned today there's 2 meditative practices that can be a foundation, but what else can you do? And I can also give some personal recommendations if you have certain questions, how you can move forward. Okay, so thank you very much. And with that, this session is closed, and I wish you a wonderful evening, day, night, wherever you are. Thank you so much.